Well, this is going to be an interesting recommendation. I say that because the gaming community seems to be split on how they feel about this game. Half the audiences out there felt like it was a groundbreaking new horror gaming experience, while the other half felt like it was a good idea that ended up just being a lot of hype and no delivery. But while I can understand the complaints that some gamers have had about, I still feel like it deserves to be called a strong horror game, and most of all, I believe it's the perfect game to get you in the Halloween spirit. Because you see, what do most people like to do around Halloween? Watch horror movies. And this was a game that was designed to say, hey, what happens if we put you in the horror movie? It's an 8-hour-long game that plays out in real time where you follow a group of college kids who go up to a cabin in the woods on the anniversary of the death of two of their friends. I should probably mention that these two friends died, well, here at this exact cabin, in this very spot 1 year ago where they're standing. Do I even need to tell you that things are going to go wrong and they're going to get supernatural real quick? Throughout the course of this game, you will take control of each of these kids, deciding their dialogue lines, their course of action, and what paths they'll go down in the story. This can alter what relationships these characters have with each other and even who lives and who dies. And between each chapter, you'll have a quick therapy session with, let's just say he's the devil, who will ask you questions that can alter small aspects of the game in an attempt to make this game scarier for you, which honestly is a brilliant idea that I wish more horror games would attempt. Now, I will admit I wish that your decisions had altered just a bit more than they actually did in this game, but I've played plenty of games before that had similar promises and I always had the same complaint, so it could very well just be me. But for what it did give us, I thought it actually proved to be a fun, intriguing gameplay experience that really was different from anything else I had played before. It really was like controlling the decisions in a movie, and that's the big reason why I put it on this list. As I said, people love to watch horror movies to get themselves prepared for Halloween. Heck, I know I do. But I've got one big gripe about watching horror movies with other people, and that's how often I hear people during horror films say, why don't they just do this? You know, if that was me, then I would have done this. I would have done this in the first place. I would never do that if I was them. I can understand complaints like this up to a point, but eventually it always reaches that moment where I want to shout, yeah, but you're not them. You're not in this situation. You're sitting on your comfy chair, watching it from the outside. You'd be in a totally different mindset if you were actually in this situation. That's where this game comes in. This is the put your money where your mouth is horror game. Oh, you think you would have done this during a horror film? Cool, give it a try and see what happens. Oh, now that character is dead. Well, I guess you shouldn't have done that, now should ya? Or maybe you were right. Maybe you actually do know what you should do in a horror film, and you have what it takes to go head to head with a serial killer, a ghost, and even more crazy creatures in the woods. In which case, great, this is the game where you finally get to put those survival skills to the test. But as I said, this is also an interesting recommendation coming from me, and part of that is because... okay, here goes. Confession time. I haven't actually played this game? Hold on. Before you call me a big fat phony in the comments, let me explain why I'm still recommending this. Because while I didn't actually play this game, as in I didn't have the controller in my hands, I did get together with a group of people when this game came out, and we all sat around picking and choosing what decisions to make. And honestly, that created a great new experience altogether, and it's one of the things I love about this game. Sure, there are games that you can play with friends where you argue over which weapon to pick or which path to go down, but it's not the same as the experience you'll get in this game. We got to discuss why we felt certain options were the correct choice, got to agree on where the story should go. It really did feel like even though only one of us was holding the controller, we all got to help craft the story. I've never gotten that out of a game before, and for Halloween, yeah, I say this would be an amazing game to play at a party where you can get everyone shouting and shrieking together. But that's just my opinion. Let me know how you feel about this game in the comments and on Twitter and Tumblr at Professor Thorgy. And remember to come back tomorrow for the final day of our THORGIWEEN celebration. Thanks again for tuning in, everyone, and happy Halloween.